This is the stuff from Blacksmith Wukong. It is motion and tap sensitive, and here is every step of how we made it. This is the second of a two-part video. Let's get right into it. Last time we left off where the electronics were still a little bit of a mess. Actually, just finished soldering them. This is everything we had before, just in a smaller package. You can see all the electronics, kind of see them underneath all of those cables, the voltage regulators, and also LEDs. These were just for the first test, but we are going to need to add more of these for each of the corners of the stuff. Remember these parts? These are the ones that are going to be in the middle of the stuff. You can even see where the letter is, where the light is going to shine through. I love these pieces, however, I'm not going to use them because they lack something, and that something is common sense. This is one of the LED strips. So when I place our LED strip in the tube, there's no way for me to, do anything for the placement, let alone glue it. And since I don't want to be kind of struggling to get it in place, so I designed this one. The only difference is that where the letter is, this one has a hole. So this way I can place the LED strip from the top, slide it down, and place it right at the center. And I can glue it right in the middle thanks to this kind of 4 points I added. I almost forgot. These are the letters. I print them all in kind of horizontal way. So after all of the LEDs are in position, this moves around still because I haven't glued it. But when all of them are in position, I'm just going to place this way. It's not going to be snap on, it's going to have glue, also it's going to be sanded, but this is overall how it's going to work. So last time I told you I was going to share with you how I made the double tap work, where I basically turn on the lights with 2 taps on the table. Well, in the circuit we have something called an accelerometer, which is this guy. I'm going to place the name of this right here. And it is pretty small and pretty easy to use. And this thing measures acceleration, which is the change in speed. For example, a car that goes at 100 kilometers per hour or whatever that is in miles. That would be speed. Versus acceleration, which is the same car goes from 0 to 100 in 3.5 seconds, let's say. Well, since this can measure acceleration, it can sense when it is still and when something is moving randomly. And therefore, the accelerometer can detect 1 or 2 taps at a time. And that is what allows me to do this. Pretty nice, right? Well, no, because that thing works great once. That's it. Then, you see, it's not responding and sometimes it just flashes. And I'm not sure why that is. I'm gonna have to check the programming again. See? That happens. But the rest of the soldering is fine, and you can see I left the place for changing the programming of the Arduino to be connected really easily. Oh, and our little accelerometer, it is right there. I think you can see it. But we achieved what we needed, which was soldering all of this so we can take the measurements and add them to the design. Why are you failing? So the design is going really well, however, there's one thing. We have these voltage regulators, these little guys, you saw them on the other video, and they're going to be able to hide behind the center pieces of the stuff just fine. You can even see them. However, that cannot happen with the battery. It can be. So because this is the only battery I have right now, this is going to look like this. Of course, it's going to have a cover, and I'm going to push it to the side so it doesn't look too chunky in the center of the stuff. So this is going to be like around. Imagine this is the stuff is going to be a little bit up, right? The design is finished. So now we can let the printers do their thing. So all the pieces are printing, and that does give us a little bit of time to understand what is wrong with the electronics, because this should be working before we assemble everything, of course. I could skip this section, but I don't want to because it's important to understand that mistakes do happen, and it's just part of every build or every project you work on. So after being here for a while, I think I found the issue. There are many different kinds of electronics, and some of them can be powered by a specific voltage. For example, these RGB LEDs, they need 5 voltages, right? 5 volts. There are other ones that need 12 volts and so on and so forth. However, there are other components that should be powered by any voltage as long as it is within a range. For example, this Arduino Nano has a voltage input range from 7 volts to 10 volts. Again, that will vary depending on the manufacturer. Now, the Arduino Nano can also power other electronics as long as they are not too power hungry. One of the output voltages from the Arduino Nano is 5 volts, and that is what I'm using to power our accelerometer. The thing is, the accelerometer needs any voltage as long as within the range of 2 volts to 3.6. Why I powered the accelerometer with 5 volts? I don't know, I got distracted by gaming or by playing with my dog. Luckily, the Arduino Nano can also supply 3.3 volts, which is well within the range that we need. So what I'm going to do is to remove the connection to 5 volts and add another cable so the accelerometer can reach the pin from the Arduino that supplies 3.3 volts. It's not working. And I have an idea. I think so long working with 5 volts might have damaged the accelerometer because I reviewed the footage and yes, since the first video it was at 5 volts and that is out of the working range. Okay, exchange the accelerometer and move from there. So after checking all of the electronics, I started checking also the program and I find out there was one line missing. See, with the double tap, the program gets a confirmation after that the lights are on. However, when I turn it off, I never added that confirmation that the lights were already off. So when I wanted to turn them on again, the program thought they were already shining, so there was not going to be any changes. But all of that is fixed, so we are back on track. The good thing is that I found out the voltage was incorrect and the accelerometer was going to fail eventually. So reviewing the electronics was worth it. And because I have all of these parts printed, let's have a look of how the end result should be. Just like the first one, the second corner was also made with the help of JLC 3DP. But it was made in a different way. Let's see what I mean. I already like the first one. This is really good. While it is SLA technology, this is full color resin, meaning that it's not painted. The material already has the color of the provided design at the moment of printing. In this example, these areas are brown from the surface to the inside, and the patterns, the clouds, and also the dragon are yellow/translucent from the surface to the inside. So the light of the LEDs will pass through just fine. Because the surface is already oil spread, it is very smooth and is just as detailed as the other print. So I can skip sanding, painting, and finish process. This part is already prepared for the assembly. The full color resin was just released by JLC 3DP, so I will leave a link in the description for you to check it out. Plus, they're celebrating their 3rd anniversary by giving away for free 3D sampling for orders under $10 if you are a new user, and if the order exceeds $10, you have a $10 discount coupon. But if you are already a user, you have a $6 discount coupon ready to be used. Also, JLC 3DP, congrats on the anniversary. So basically, this is how everything is going to look once it's finished. Of course, we need to sand it and also paint it, except that part in the corner. And of course, glue it in place. You can see there's some space here at the front. The same happens with this other corner. And to cover that place or to connect the corners to the center staff, I'm going to use these 2 pieces here. They are different to one another because one is for the stuff from the color resin, and this other one is for the translucent one. We also have the pockets for the plug. the battery, the perf board, and the buck converters, but I need to first route the cables on the inside, and then I'm going to be able to put them in place. And a cap for each area. This is where the switch is going to be. I'm going to use this battery for other projects. This cap is not going to be glued. This is going to slide in and kind of snap into place. Now, to an important question. How many LEDs are required to light all of this up? As far as I could see, this is the only area that is not light up. However, the patterns and the dragon and clouds do need light. So let's see how many do we need. Only for this part, we need already 36 LEDs. That's a lot. And 73 of them for the bigger side. So that's 109 LEDs per side, so 218 LEDs. Maybe I should have used a flexible LED filament. But this is what I have, so. These are the pieces that are going to need sanding because they are the only ones that are visible. All of the pieces are sanded. Now, to remove the letters. The next step is to add the electronics, the battery, the filaments, and the LEDs all through the insides of the cylinders before placing everything around the main tube. All 5 of the LED filaments are in place. Now it's time for the PCB. All of these cables are going to go through this tube and will come out on the other side, where the PCB is going to be. The 3 buck converters, which are going to be on these places, are going to have all of their cables cut and rejoin after they come out of this place. Perfect. The next step is to add the metal core or the metal tube. So everything will start looking less like nunchucks and more like a staff. This tube does have a sharp edge and I don't want it to damage any of the cables. So first I'm going to Dremel it. When Dremeling anything, particles always fly away really fast. So safety glasses are always a must. You can see we have almost every piece that is going to be touching the inner tube already assembled. And they are super glued to each other, but none of this is attached or glued to the inner tube. And this is where these 2 pieces come in. These ones will be placed at the far end of both sides. To glue this, I'm going to use contact cement. This is a little bit different compared to the super glue. Super glue is more of a kind of very strong but also brittle if you put too much strength into it. However, this one creates a flexible bond. It turns into the consistency of like dried gum. So if you try to remove it, it never breaks. It kind of bends and then goes back into place. So I'm going to place a little bit here on the metal tube. And also in this place, you can see I left a small depression on the inside. That is just for the glue. So with this, we can finally make a proper test. For the first time, I'm going to turn this on the way it should be turned on. And yes, I already like the way it looks without all the cover. And let's turn it off with... This is the always on display. And now if we just swing this around a little bit, yeah, and it will turn on, off by itself, yes. Bro. Finally, the last step is to cover the LED filaments with the letters and also cover these connections with a little bit of glazing compound. Then we can paint all of it. And finally, add the corners so we can finish this project. One more time. I really love how it looks already. Okay, let's finish this. Before I put primer on this, I am going to paint the gold on the letters right away. Our golden paint is finished and is looking pretty good. And later on, I will add the brown paint, but so far so good. In order for me to add paint to the center of the staff, first I need to place a temporary shield to the letters to protect that golden cover, and that will come in the shape of liquid latex. When I turn on the staff with a double tap, these pieces in the corners are the ones that are going to take the impact. So in order to protect the piece and the paint itself, I am going to add this small piece of rubber. You can see it goes just out a little bit, like half a millimeter, compared to the surface of the rest of the piece. That is going to help protect it and make the whole build more durable overall. Finally, because this build took way longer than I thought, here it is. Black Myth Wukong staff. This thing looks just incredible. I love the brown/wine color of the staff and every single detail of both ends. Which, by the way, they both look very different. This is just because of the nature of the process they went. While one of them looks very solid, the other one looks like it is made of glass. And because of the difference of colors, gold against brown/wine, the letters really pop. This took a lot of time and a lot of mistakes along the way, but I really love the final build. And we're pretty much the same height. But let's see how this works. It is still morning, but I'd like to look if this glows as much as I hope it will. Even with all of the light of the outside, you can really see everything. Especially every letter, which they might not look perfect, but in Black Myth Wukong they look like they were handwritten instead of being perfectly made. So I'm calling this a feature, not a bug. And of course the temporary light from both corners only will come from just a spinning motion. You don't want to hit anything around here, there's more room. There it is. Listen, this looks incredible and everything, but I really want to see how this looks at night. I love the fact we have the neoprene pieces at the bottom and at the top. And to be honest, I thought the pockets were going to be a lot bigger, but this is just fine. If you are interested in making one for yourself, I will leave a link to the Patreon shop right in the description. You will have the files for the full color resin, which are 2 files, one for the golden areas and one for the brown areas, as well as the files for the translucent resin, which should also work with PLA. Just beware of all of the sanding. And 2 versions for the stuff. The one you will have right here with all of the pockets for the electronics, and one without any of the pockets, in case you want to make this without any electronics and paint only. All of that together will only be $10 to help support the channel. Part 1, in case you missed it, is going to be right here. And for more of a mechanical build, click here for Wolverine claws. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.